All right, let's talk about part two. We have this movie starting off with Jason getting revenge on Alice, which I thought was a really cool way to start it. I really like the campfire scene where Paul's talking about Jason's history. It's played again in the next movie in other movies, which is just annoying. Because I'll get into my dislikes about this if something like that happens in this one. I like Jeannie as a final girl, and I really like the chase sequences and the scare setup with her and Jason. Like, he jumps up in effective times, and the chase is tense, and I really like. I just like Jenny as a final girl. I think it's done very well. So those are like the main things that I like. I'm going to definitely get into more things that that are worth mentioning for sure. But now getting into things that I dislike about this is there's too many flashback scenes in the opening. It's like 13 minutes and it's completely unnecessary. If you cut it down to just the Alice scenes, it's like 3 minutes long. And this movie's are only like an hour and 20 minutes anyways. So you're basically like taking 10 minutes and putting filler in. And this movie's only like an hour and 10, which is just kind of unfair to do to your audience. I don't like that Vicky just stands there and takes it. I want her to fight back. Yes, I understand that it's realistic for characters to be so scared they can't move, but it was like, come on, Vicky, do something. Same thing happens with Jeannie in this as well. When Paul is being attacked by Jason, she just sits there. She doesn't do anything. She just waits in the wings and is, yes, again, she's scared. She doesn't want to do anything. But it's like, come on, help the guy. You're supposed to be like in love with this guy and I think pregnant, right? So yeah, just come on, help the guy out. Now, getting into some of the things that I noticed and are definitely worth mentioning. Number one, this has been 5 years since the first movie. I said 1 in the last one, but I'd forgotten it had been 5. Alice takes the shortest shower I think I've ever seen on film. Clocks in at like a whole 3 seconds. She then answers the phone and Jason is calling, I guess. I mean, it's just a dead line. The phone rings and she picks it up and it's like, did Jason just call her? I don't fucking think so. One thing I really noticed more this time than ever was that Jeannie really used her psychology major that she was going for to her advantage in this. She talks a lot about like child psychology. She talks about Jason to them at the bar and her, thoughts towards him and what he would be like and her perception of him. And later in the film, she sees the sweater, she sees the head, she realizes like, this is Jason. He's obviously still worships his mother like she thought, so she takes the sweater and she confuses him into believing it's her because, as she says in there, that she thinks he's a frightened retard, which I thought was very telling of the time that this movie was made. Nowadays, your main protagonist could not be using that word. It would not be PC, obviously. But I just liked that she took advantage of the situation and she had something to play. Like she had an advantage over him and she quickly acted on it. Now it's risky, obviously, and it's a little ridiculous, but it worked. And I liked it more this time when I was really paying attention. That because when I was younger, when I was watching this as a kid, I didn't really understand the scene all that well. I was just kind of like, well, that's random. She just throws on the sweater and is like, I'm your mom. Like, I really was like, I pay attention much more in my older age and being like, oh, like, yeah, she's a psychology major and, she gets it. Like, I like that now a lot more as I have been paying better attention to it. A cat being thrown through the window is so stupid. It's been done in so many movies, even great horror movies that I watch, like Halloween 2 and whatnot. I just stop doing that. Jason takes the kettle off the boiling the boiling kettle off the burner for absolutely no reason. The title card in this blows up. I guess that's trying to outdo the one breaking the screen. I just love that. I just love that. It just explodes. The kid the red-haired kid, I can't think of his name at the moment, but the guy who plays Reptile Shervical in Just One of the Guys, he's a much better prankster than Ned was. Take notes, Ned. Oh wait, you can't because you're dead. But yeah, like I was like, now that's how you prank someone. You load up their car, you drive away, they make him chase it, especially with Sandra, need to see her run. I didn't hate that scene. I just thought it was funny to me. I was just like, now that's a funny fucking prank. The other ones were dick moves. Oh man, Scott is just such a creep in this movie. The way he flirts, like he's like hitting her with slingshots and winking and then taking her clothes while she's out in the water. Like, what a fucking creep Scott is. And something that I'm gonna eventually do in a video once I understand how to capture videos. I still haven't done that yet, but something I want to definitely point out in this is Ralph's death is absolutely impossible. Watch it again. I'm going to get into it in a later video, so I'm not going to ruin that, but yeah, check out his death and tell me how you think it's impossible, because it totally is, and I laugh every time I see it. We have 2 films in a row now where the final girl in the film is having a sexual relationship with the guy who runs the camp. I didn't notice that until this time, and I was like, wait a minute. I was thinking about, like, I'm guessing that Jason just happened upon that, like, shanty that he lives in. I don't think he built that. I mean, it definitely looks handmade, but I don't know. Did he? I mean, he's a frightened retard, as she says. Would he know how to make something like that? There's a toilet in there, so like, where would he have got that? Did he just piece it together from pieces of the old camp? I don't know if that's supposed to be made by him. Terry has a lot of interactions with the camera in this film for some reason. She not only looks straight and directly at the camera, she also takes her towel after Scott is hanging out there, and she just throws it in the woods. Like, she's throwing it at the camera, mind you, but if you watch, she's just, if you're like taking the camera out, because you should, because you're watching a fucking movie, she just tosses it in the woods. I just find that to be really fucking stupid and kind of hilarious. And then the next scene, she's walking towards the camera, and she like basically runs into the camera. So I don't know why she has so much interaction with the camera in such a short amount of time. But I found that very notable. This Vicky chick is forward. Holy shit. She sees Mark, and she has her sights set on this guy. I don't know how she is with every other guy, but man, when she sees something she wants, she just goes for it. She is forward. She is flirtatious. She is just direct. She goes back to the cabin. She puts on the panties that she wants. She sprays some perfume on her vagina. She is ready to rock and roll, man. Vicky is a very forward lady. Why does Mark's machete that gets planted in his face, why is it backwards? That's very odd. The same thing happens with Scott's death. When they slice his throat, it's done clearly with the back of the blade. I'm guessing maybe they used a real blade, so they didn't want to get it close to anywhere near his throat. I don't know why they'd use a real blade, but I mean, why they use the back end of it, you can tell it's clearly cocked to the back end when it slices him. Same thing with Mark's death. It's planted backwards in his face. Maybe that just shows the strength of Jason, that he can barrel through the blunt end of a blade through your face and your neck. I don't know. I just makes me laugh. Why Ginny pees when a rat's next to her versus a psychopath who she knows has killed plenty of her friends, is after her is beyond me. I'm just like, so you're not that terrified of Jason, but maybe this is like the straw that broke the camel's back or something. I just found that, yet another thing I just laughed at, because I was just like, a rat? Really? Like, Jason is out there, he's right in the room with you, and you're not peeing yourself, but a little fucking rat comes up and boom. When Ginny attacks Jason with the chainsaw, somehow the chainsaw like cuts out and I guess just shuts off because it like nicks Jason's arm. Yet more proof that Jason's been like hitting the weights, man. His arm stops chainsaws. And yeah, so now getting into my last thing here that I was talking about, my last one. We have a kill count of 9 is what I counted. So Betsy or Pamela Voorhees bested you in your first film. She had 10, you had 9. I might have miscounted, but I don't think so. So I'll have to check later. If somebody can refute that, please let me know. My favorite kill is definitely Mark's in the wheelchair. I just love when it's rolling down and it like freeze frames as it's like hitting the last stoop. I just love the whole look of that kill. My favorite character is in it, Mark. I just think he's a cool guy. I just think he's yet another one who these characters are yet again not characters that I love. They're not characters that I find all that super interesting or funny or anything. If they are, they're kind of quick fire stuff and not anything that will retain. So I just kind of have to look at them as, who do I think is the best person? Who do I think I would want to be around or be friends with or whatever? So that's really what I'm going off of, because there's no characters in this that are extremely memorable, except I like Ginny as a final girl, so I do like her. But when I was watching this film, the only person that I felt like I could relate to is Mark. Not that I'm, in a wheelchair or anything, but he's a guy that I really liked. And my hottest chick in the movie, this was a tough one because this movie packs it on. It really puts some super good looking chicks in this. So as I said, it's tough. But even though Sandra has the best rack 10 times over, I will have to give it to Vicky. I think she's just the cutest, prettiest chick in the movie. And I like how forward she is. So anyway, all right, time for bed. I will hit up 3, maybe 4 tomorrow. We'll see. All right, guys.